Now we'll take a look at applying filters to buttons. If you're following along, I'm working in 04_filters_buttons.fla in the Chapter 12 folder in the Exercise Files folder. In this file, we have one layer called Button and a simple button on the stage. To apply a filter to a button, select the button on the stage, and then at the bottom of the screen, near the Property Inspector, click the Filters tab. To apply a filter, click the Add Filter button. It looks like a plus sign. When the menu comes up, scroll down and find Drop Shadow. We'll apply a simple shadow to this button. When you apply a drop shadow, you have the option to control the blur. The lock icon indicates the blur X and blur Y values are connected. If I click and drag the blur X slider up or down, I can increase or reduce the blur. I'm going to drag it up a little bit to increase the blur to 11. You can change the color of the drop shadow by clicking the Shadow Color picker. I'm going to press Command Z or Control Z on the PC to undo the change that I just made. I'll have to go back to Filters by selecting the button again and choosing Filters at the bottom of the screen. I'm also going to choose the Selection tool by pressing V on my keyboard. That way I won't see handles around the button. I'll again have to go to the Filters tab at the bottom of the screen. Now let's reduce the strength a little bit. The strength refers to the transparency of the shadow. I'm going to reduce it down to about 50. You can also adjust the angle or distance of the shadow or quality. Though filters look a little bit better when you raise the quality, your flash movie will suffer in performance. Typically, it's best to keep the quality low. The three options on the right are Knockout, Inner Shadow, and Hide Object. If you check the Knockout box, then you see the shadow, but not the main object. If you check the Inner Shadow, the shadow is then on the inside. And if you check the Hide Object button, then the object is hidden and you can see the complete shadow. I'm not going to check any of those boxes. Now let's apply a bevel filter to the button. Click the Add Filter button again and select Bevel from the menu that pops up. This will apply a bevel to our button. Here you also have the option to adjust the blur X and blur Y values. I'm going to drag the blur X slider up to blur the filter a little bit. I'm going to drag the strength slider down to reduce the transparency of the bevel just a little bit. I'm going to leave shadow and highlight at black and white respectively. I'm going to leave all the other settings at their defaults. One new option here is the type of bevel. The default type is inner. You can also choose outer. Outer applies the bevel on the outside of the object, and full applies the bevel on the inside and outside of the object. I'm just going to choose inner. Now let's test the movie and see what the button looks like. Command Return on the Mac, Control Enter on the PC. There's our button with the bevel and a shadow. You roll over the button, and the color changes, and you click the button, and the button works as normal. But it looks a little bit better because of the filters that we applied. Let's close this window, and there's how to apply a filter to a button.